I know. I know. I'm about 5 months late. But after watching the last 3 games of the season, and the fact that the in between there was like a month of just watching the team slowly kind of get, clowned on by everybody else, and then having to play in a bowl game against a team that was heavily better than us and still somewhat outperforming our expectations, I guess. I don't know. What did you want? Did you want us to win? Did you seriously want us to win? Okay, Utah had like two offensive linemen. Two offensive linemen that went in the first couple of rounds. What did you want? But put it past us. Just put it past us. It's fine. Okay, so the season, if you look at the record, you're like, wow, they had the same exact fucking record as last year. And yes, that is true. But not in the Big Ten. I know they gave us a very softball schedule, and next year we're gonna definitely get a little more harder opponents, just a little. But I don't think it's that bad, and I think people need to calm down a little. But there, the season could have gone a lot worse. And I do at least commend Rayla for one thing, and it's that he at least is somewhat of a stable quarterback option. Was the stable quarterback option. That not really not when he, especially when he got injured, the wheels kind of fell off. I know some people are going to say, "Oh, if he was, healthy, we could have probably won that USC game." No, we weren't. We just weren't. Did you not see the rest of the game? Did you not see before and after that injury? Before the injury, we looked lost. Both teams looked lost, all right? That game was pretty much a wash at that point. We were not going to win that game. Even if USC looked like a fucking newborn fawn, we were just never going to win that game. No matter, I mean, 10 for 15, 91 yards. Even if they can't stop Emmett Johnson, what are we supposed to do? It's whatever. It's fine. It's fine. You know what? It's fine. That game never happened anyway. But the season finished with a 7-5 record. Now last year, you may recall, we only had 6 wins, and we had a massive collapse at the end of the season where we just could not win games. Now you may say to yourself, but you lost the last 3 games. Yes, but that is less than losing 5 or 6 or 8 in a row. All right? It's less than that because we actually won 2 fucking games in the last, 6 games. That's an improvement, right? I mean, we at least were able to clear out a Northwestern team that finished with the same Big Ten record as us, and we beat at UCLA. We won a road game. Like, we won 2 Big Ten road games. That's somewhat impressive, right? And 2 road games overall, but that's somewhat impressive, I guess. I don't know. The problem was that the rest of the offensive line was not ever going to help, and our flaws obviously were exposed by the end. But our best win by far was week 1. I know. I know it's kind of disappointing to say that our non-conference result against the 7-6 team was by far our best win. But did you see the rest of the first part of the season? It looked like Cincinnati actually had figured out this whole football thing. I know they played close games against the likes of Kansas and Bowling Green, but they blew the shit out of some other teams, and they beat Iowa State, which is again a somewhat respectable Big 10, Big 12 opponent that didn't play in a bowl game because their coach fucked off. But it's a respectable team, and then they just lost the last 5 games. But that happens. That happens to a lot of teams. including Nebraska. So, that's still by far our best win. Our worst loss is still Iowa. No matter what, it's always probably going to be an Iowa loss that is the worst. Unless we beat him, actually, then it's something else. Our two actual ranked opponents that we played, which, Michigan at least stayed roughly the same. USC, on the other hand, stayed roughly the same. Both of them were still one-score losses, which, back to this, the whole thing. But we finished with a 1 win, 1 loss, 2 wins, 3 wins, 3 wins, 2 losses, 4. We finished with four wins that were of 1 score. Do you know how unbelievable that is? For this school to have won 4 games, with 3 of them in the Big Ten by 1 score. I get maybe we should have blown out 2 of those opponents, because both of them were Maryland and UCLA. But that close win against Northwestern, we would have lost that game in any other year. But we won it this year. And I think that is a damn good improvement. Now, on the other hand, it's the fact that we can't finish teams that are ranked, both of which were at home, and one of which we decided to put on a blackout. But that's just because some injury. But I don't think we would have won that fucking game anyways. The Michigan loss, I'm a little more pissed about, because Rayola actually looked like something. 308 yards is pretty good. It's better than Bryce Underwood, but we just kept putting ourselves in terrible positions, even after a fucking Hail Mary. I was like, oh my god, we actually did something miraculous, and then it turned into shit. Of course it did. What'd you expect? For us to actually, have a defense? That was the worst thing. The defense looked lost. Even with an offense that was finally above average, everything on the defensive front looked lost, which makes the first game even more confusing, because that 69-yard performance by Sorsby and a 96-yard rushing yard performance from him was the only way that we were able to, only game in which we were able to contain a quarterback. I believe that, it doesn't really matter against, teams like Akron and Houston Christian or whatever, but, we could not contain many other quarterbacks, and then eventually just gave up everything with the rushing attack. All right, the only way that teams would lose to us is that they just kind of lose the plot, I guess. And eventually Penn State and Iowa's coaching staff just wisened up and figured their shit out. It's an improvement, and it obviously sucks that, the record looks the same, but you technically improved in the Big Ten. But, what do you expect? We need to establish a new floor. The previous floor, as you may know, is the best 3-9 season that any team has ever had. That's the floor. And that's not a good floor. We need to at least be able to raise that floor to 6-6. And I think we have gotten there. Okay? I just need the media, which has done a pretty damn good job of shutting up about saying that Nebraska has the potential to do anything. I know our new quarterback is not the sexy option from picking from the development tree of Dan Mullen at UNLV, but it's much more of an actual proven selection than he who shall not be named. Not Rayola, the other guy. You know who it is. You know the deleted video. He who shall not be named. It's better than that, because at least it's a proven commodity And also, Kentucky football is not relevant. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. Who knows? It's not been relevant for years. Basketball program, different story. But their football program, But just remember that this season, it always has promise. Every team starts with the promise that you can go 12-0. Half of those die pretty early, and the rest of them slowly die until he gets at the national championship. All right. Well, I guess the last week of the season, which is now week 13, but you get the point. You get the point. All right. And while again, we're not able to, beat top 25 teams, we had two real opportunities. And one of them, people will say, there was an injury involved that fucked it over. I still say that we would have lost that game, but I will go off of that narrative, alright? The other one, we had a fucking miracle get us within one score, alright? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's the first miracle since, the Hail Mary against Northwestern. That was God knows how long ago with a backup quarterback. Like, that's the last, miracle moment, alright? It's just like people need to realize that we came from a bottom that not a whole lot of Power 4, Power 5 programs even get to. Not even a lot of G6 schools get to this point. Because you are sat being laughed at by literally everyone around you. Because you cannot close out games for the life of you. You lose every single game by one score. No matter if it is against the School of the Blind or if it is number 1 or top 5 Ohio State. It doesn't matter. You keep them close, but it's never enough. You get laughed at every single week for fucking it up. And that's how it was. For God knows how long. For my entire fandom, I watched this team fuck itself over constantly. Constantly, I tell you. Losing to teams like Troy, losing to Georgia Southern, losing to fucking Northern Illinois. And I know Notre Dame has lost to Northern Illinois. But that Northern Illinois team at least had some sort of promise. The one that we lost to, I wouldn't go look at that. So, you've got to realize that while this is nowhere near the top of which Nebraska has had in the past, that past was 30 fucking years ago. 1996 was 30 years ago. And right now, 10 years ago was the start of nothing. The start of death. And so now we are slowly climbing out of death. I do not think that Matt Rule will ever lead us to a thing like, the college football playoff at its current form. Now, if they do actually change it to that 2014 format, that's much more of a possibility. That's more attainable for a team because it's like, win 9 games and you get in? Like, that's attainable. Mike Riley had a 9-win season. That's definitely attainable to a degree. Long as it's not like you win your first 9 and then lose last 3 embarrassingly, then that would probably get you kicked out. But there is, he probably won't lead us there, but you know what he can do is raise the floor to what it is now, which is 500 ball. And you know what? At some point, you gotta just accept the fact that you are at 500 ball for a couple of seasons. Because that is infinitely better than having 6 seasons of just nothing. 7 seasons of nothing. 8 years. 8 fucking years of nothing. Okay? So what if we lost a fucking Las Vegas Bowl? So what? Alright? Northwestern won its bowl game, but you know who it was against? A MAC school. You know who, you know, Minnesota bombclatted in their bowl game? A MAC school. We had to go up against the number 15 team in the country that had one of the best offensive lines and quarterback duos of all time, of Utah's history. One of Utah's best seasons ever. That still wasn't enough for the CFP. I'm so sorry, bros. Their season was wasted in a bowl game against us. Our season was not really wasted in a bowl game against them, but we got clowned on during the game because of a backwards cap and apparently trying to extend the careers of our players. I get Utah fans were pretty annoyed, but bro, there's like some seniors on our team at least. They get to play at least one more time. You go Hail Mary and try and get within 14. You never know. Still got to lock in on defense. That's for sure. I don't know. Considering that we do not have the terrorist at offensive line coach anymore, and we have an actual defensive coordinator who, real success with SDSU. No, not South Dakota State. San Diego State. That's a really damn good defensive school. I mean, really, it really is in a lot of fronts. It's a really good defensive school. So it's a good hire. Jeep Wade has at least some sort of success. A couple of his guys just got drafted in the recent NFL draft. And you know what? We only had one player drafted, and it was our godlike running back that I still believe should have gone higher. It's just the fact that he ran a little bit slow at the combine. So what? The running back position isn't all about speed, bro. It really isn't. I mean, there's a reason why ancient guys like Derrick Henry can still exist. They don't have to go breakneck 4.4 speed. They still just gotta be strong or something. I don't know. But, next season, everyone's looking at the what the strength of schedule is. It's like, wow, that's a lot of hard teams, but that's just the Big Ten, man. You're just gonna get a lot of hard teams. So what? You play them. That's pretty much it. You play them. Like, you play them, you move on, you do whatever. Yeah, sure, we're going to have to face up against the harder of the two, outsiders, and then Indiana and all. But honestly, whatever. It's fine. It really is fine, because as long as the floor is not broken, you should be fine. All right? We're never going to turn this program around like that. That just does not happen. UCF is an anomaly. You cannot just turn a program around like that. You just can't. So what? You're going to have to suffer. We're all going to have to suffer in this together. I hate it as much as you do. I really wish the team could just instantly get back to what it was when they actually won national championships, but you're just not going to get that if you've had so many terrible seasons. But as of right now, you just got to build up a current core of something that can maybe get to 8 wins. Maybe get to, a bowl game in which they won't be bumblecladded by a superior opponent in every way, shape, or form. Like, maybe. Just maybe, guys. I don't know. Maybe I'll let you know what you guys think. I don't know. I'm just finally glad I got this done. I'm probably going to get some other ones done. I need to get this over with before I have to deal with some other summer school bullshit. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Goodest of byes.